आवाज नहीं आ रही सुरेंद्र जी, आवाज। नमामि धन्वन्तरिमादिदेवं सुरासुरैर्वन्दितपादपद्मं लोके जरारुकभयमृत्युनाशं दातारमीशं विविधौषधीनां।
कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं प्रोफेसर महेश व्यास जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि आज की इस वेबिनार के विषय में अपने 2 शब्द रखें। प्रोफेसर महेश व्यास जी।
परम श्रद्धेय प्रोफेसर सुरेश चंद्र मिश्र जी, राष्ट्रीय संगठन सचिव, आदरणीय प्रोफेसर के द्विवेदी जी, सह संगठन सचिव, आज के इस कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि आदरणीय राम भट्ट जी, अध्यक्ष मेडिकल असेसमेंट एंड रेटिंग बोर्ड NCISM नई दिल्ली। आज के इस कार्यक्रम में मुख्य वक्ता के रूप में हमारे बीच में उपस्थित वैद्य काशीनाथ समगंधी जी, नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आयुर्वेद जयपुर से, और हमारे विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर गोविंद शुक्ल जी, महासचिव वैद्य अश्विनी भार्गव जी। आज के इस कार्यक्रम के विशेष रूप से संयोजक, जो पूरा आयुर्वेद दिवस के रूप में कार्यक्रम विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद के द्वारा चलाया जा रहा है, इसके संयोजक एवं राष्ट्रीय सचिव वैद्य सुरेंद्र चौधरी जी, राष्ट्रीय सचिव वैद्य रामतीर्थ जी, साथ ही इस कार्यक्रम में पूरे भारतवर्ष से सभी प्रांतों से उपस्थित विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद के पदाधिकारी एवं कार्यकर्ता बंधु, सभी को सादर नमस्कार और सभी का आज के इस कार्यक्रम में हार्दिक स्वागत है। जैसा कि आदरणीय सुरेंद्र जी ने अभी बताया, ये आयुर्वेद दिवस के उपलक्ष्य में ये जो वेबिनार की श्रृंखला है, इसका आयोजन किया गया है और भारत सरकार ने हर वीक के लिए एक अलग अलग थीम दी है। इस वर्ष भारत सरकार, आयुष मंत्रालय आयुर्वेद दिवस को एक व्यापक स्तर पर मना रहा है और अभी पिछले वीक माननीय मंत्री जी ने एक पत्र निकाला था और जिसमें ग्राम पंचायत लेवल तक सभी की सहभागिता उन्होंने इसमें करने के लिए प्रयास प्रारंभ कर दिया है। तो उसी के अंतर्गत एक कार्यक्रम जो है उसमें हर वीक की एक अलग अलग थीम है और उस थीम के माध्यम से हम सभी को मोटिवेशनल लेक्चर के रूप में, मार्गदर्शन के रूप में अलग अलग कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन हो रहा है। फर्स्ट वीक की थीम थी होलिस्टिक हेल्थ, और जिसके लिए हमने पिछले रविवार को व्याख्यान किया था और जिसमें वैद्य संतोष भट्टर जी, ऑल इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आयुर्वेद से उनका उद्बोधन हुआ था और कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि के रूप में वैद्य BS प्रसाद जी NCISM से उपस्थित थे। उसी प्रकार से जो द्वितीय वीक की थीम है वो है आहार के ऊपर, और आज इस कार्यक्रम में आहार के विषय में हम सबको जो आज जिनका उद्बोधन प्राप्त होगा, वैद्य काशीनाथ समगंधी जी, जो स्वस्थ व्रत विभाग नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आयुर्वेद जयपुर में कार्यरत हैं, प्राध्यापक हैं, और उनका आहार के ऊपर साइंटिफिक वे में बहुत कुछ काम है। और भारत सरकार ने कहा कि देखिए, आयुर्वेद में एक बात कही गई है कि शक्यते अपि अन्न मात्रेण नरः कर्तुम निरामय, माने मात्र आहार के नियमों का पालन करके, डाइट और लाइफस्टाइल के नियमों का पालन करके हम व्यक्ति को स्वस्थ रख सकते हैं। तो इस वीक की थीम यही है कि केवल आहार के माध्यम से, ऋतु परिवर्तन जैसे होता है तो उस समय हमको किन आहार का ध्यान रखना है, वय के अनुसार किन आहार का ध्यान रखना है, सामान्य रूप से नित्य सेवनीय द्रव्य क्या हैं, किन का विशेष रूप से नित्य असेवनीय द्रव्य हैं, और इस प्रकार से आहार के नियमों का, आहार के जो हमारे यहाँ पे आहार वर्ग बता रखे हैं, जैसे कहना चाहिए कि जो मोटे धान्य आदि हैं जिनका प्रयोग आजकल कम हो गया है और उनका प्रयोग स्वास्थ्य के लिए बहुत अच्छा है, इन सब बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए आयुष मंत्रालय ने सभी जगह, हर नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट को भी, सभी संस्थाओं को भी कहा है कि इसके ऊपर अलग अलग कार्यक्रम आयोजित करें, और सभी लोग इसके लिए कार्यक्रम आयोजित कर रहे हैं। तो आज का ये जो उद्बोधन काशीनाथ जी का होगा और मार्गदर्शन हमारा विद्या रघुराम भट्ट जी का होगा, इसमें से जो बातें उनके आधार पर हम सभी जो पूरे भारतवर्ष से बिल्कुल आयुर्वेद के जो मुख्य पदाधिकारी इसमें जुड़े हुए हैं, वो सब अपने क्षेत्र में आहार के ऊपर कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन करेंगे। तो आज का जो विषय है आहार विषय है, और इस विषय के ऊपर पूरा जो प्रकाश डालेंगे वो तो काशीनाथ सोमगंधी जी इसके बाद में वो करेंगे। तो मैं सुरेंद्र जी को भी और इस कार्यक्रम में सभी उपस्थित बंधु जो यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं और उनके माध्यम से कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन होगा, और हमारे मुख्य अतिथि जी और के द्विवेदी जी अब जुड़ गए हैं, सभी का मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूँ और इसके साथ में अपनी बात को पूर्ण करता हूँ।
धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर महेश व्यास जी। हमें आदरणीय प्रोफेसर गोविंद शुक्ला जी, राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद, से आग्रह करूंगा कि आज की सभा के विशिष्ट अतिथि और आज के मुख्य वक्ता उनको उनके वेलकम एड्रेस के लिए दो शब्द कहें। प्रोफेसर गोविंद शुक्ला जी।
यत् प्रभा पटलोद्भाषे भाषते अद्यापि भारतम आयुर्वेदात्मकम ज्योति शाश्वतम न प्रकाशता। आरोग्य से जुड़े हुए इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम में आज के हमारे मुख्य अतिथि आदरणीय रघुराम जी भट्ट, आज के आहार विषयक जो आरोग्य के लिए सबसे पहली आवश्यकता है अन्नमय कोश की, अन्नमय कोश को ही मुख्य रूप से और रोग और का एक विशेष हेतु होता है। तो उस विषय को लेकर के जो आज के हमारे मुख्य वक्ता हैं डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी, आज के इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़े हैं सभी केंद्रीय पदाधिकारी और सभी प्रदेशों के जितने भी कार्यकर्ता जो जुड़े हैं, सभी का मैं हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूं। और निश्चित रूप से हम विगत वर्षों में देख रहे हैं जिस विषय को लेकर के विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद 1997 से हम हर विषय को लेकर के आयुर्वेद की पुनः प्रतिष्ठा की जो बात करते हैं, तो वो क्वालिटी एजुकेशन को लेकर के भी करते हैं, सेवा प्रकल्पों पर लेकर के भी कर रहे हैं, और आयुर्वेद के मौलिक सिद्धांतों का कैसे प्रचार प्रसार हो, व्यापकता हो, इस विषय को लेकर के जो हम कार्य कर रहे हैं। विगत वर्षों में हम देख रहे हैं कि भारत सरकार के माध्यम से, आयुष मंत्रालय के माध्यम से, यहाँ तक कि माननीय हमारे प्रधानमंत्री महोदय भी आयुर्वेद को विषय को किस प्रकार से प्रचारित और प्रसारित करने की आवश्यकता है, इस विषय पर बल दे रहे हैं। तो जो आयुष मंत्रालय के आयुर्वेद दिवस पर जो विषय को लेकर के इस बार का जो विषय रखा है, उसी विषय को हम हर शनिवार रविवार को मूल विषयों को लेकर के उस विषय को फिर आगे, जैसा कि आदरणीय महेश जी ने बताया, हमारे स्तर जो है उन विषयों को लेकर के व्यापक रूप से उसको प्रचार प्रसारित करें। और ये प्रचार प्रसारित करने के जो विषय है, निश्चित रूप से आज की एक आवश्यकता है। इसको विगत वर्षों में देश के अंदर ही नहीं, आयुर्वेद के मूल सिद्धांतों को वैश्विक स्तर पर जो स्वीकार्यता है वो नितांत आवश्यकता है। तो ऐसे विषय को लेकर के जो आहार है, सोचा नाम सर्वेशम आहार शुद्धि विशिष्टते है, आहार की जो शुद्धि है, आहार के माध्यम से ही हम कैसे सतैव जीवन को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। किस प्रकार का काल भोजनम आरोग्य कराणाम श्रेष्ठ है, हमारा समय पर भोजन करना, किस प्रकार का भोजन करना, कैसे भोजन करना, सारा का सारा जो एक विस्तृत विषय है। आरोग्य के लिए किस प्रकार का भोजन करना, पथ्य के लिए किस प्रकार का आहार कल्पनाओं का प्रयोग करना, ऐसा एक जो विशद विषय आयुर्वेद के अंदर है, उस विषय को जो हम, क्योंकि हम प्रारंभ से, क्योंकि विषय तो जो मौलिक सिद्धांतों की बात करते हैं, तो प्रारंभ से सुबह उठने से लेकर ब्राह्म मुहूर्ते उत्तिष्ठे जीर्णा जीर्ण दुरुपयोग, वही से प्रारंभ करके सब पूरी जो हमारी दिनचर्या है वो आयुर्वेद सिद्धांतों के साथ में चलती है। और वो सारा विषय जो हम आज प्रयास कर रहे हैं, वो प्रयास मात्र जो स्मरण है उसको पुनः स्मरण करने का है। जो हमारी कालक्रम के प्रभाव से, आज की भौतिक जीवन शैली के प्रभाव से, पाश्चात्य जीवन शैली के प्रभाव से जो इसके कारण हैं, उन कारणों के कारण हमारे जो मौलिक सिद्धांतों का, जीवन शैली का है, जो मूलभूत सिद्धांत आयुर्वेद का, उनका जो स्खलन हुआ है, उसको मात्र स्मरण करवाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। और आज जो स्मरण करने का हमारा जो प्रयास है, उसको पूरे देश के अंदर, उसको पूरे एक समनस्क भाव से स्वीकार्यता है। आज भोजन से जुड़े हुए जो विशिष्ट पहलू हैं, उन पहलुओं पर काशीनाथ जी का हम सभी को एक जैसा कि महेश जी ने कहा कि साइंटिफिक वे में वैज्ञानिक आधार पर पूरा का विषय जो हमारा वैज्ञानिक आधार पर जो हमारे ग्रंथों में है, उस विषय का हम सब पुनः स्मरण करेंगे। और आज जो ये टीम हमारे पूरे देश भर से जुड़ी हुई है, अगले सप्ताह के लिए जो कैसे कैसे इस कार्यक्रम को अपनी अपनी कार्य योजना बनाते हैं देश भर के अंदर, तो उसकी वो रचना बनाएंगे। इस कार्यक्रम में मैं आज के हमारे जो मुख्य अतिथि हैं रघुराम जी, उनका हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूँ। आज के हमारे जो प्रखर वक्ता है, जिनका बहुत अच्छा आहार पर और स्वास्थ्य से जुड़े हुए मौलिक सिद्धांतों के विषयों पर वैज्ञानिक आज के युगानुरूप दृष्टिकोण से उनका विशेष अध्ययन है, ऐसे डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी का अभिनंदन करता हूँ। इस वर्ष से जुड़े सभी पदाधिकारियों का अभिनंदन करता हूँ। पूरी केंद्रीय पदाधिकारियों का भी मैं हृदय से स्वागत करता हूँ। इस प्रकार की थीम को लेकर के अनवरत हम जो अपना प्रयास कर रहे हैं, उस प्रयास में सार्थक भाव से जो सफलता मिलेगी, निश्चित रूप से ये हमारी पूरी जो टीम है, परिषद की जो केंद्रीय समिति है और नीचे से जुड़े हुए कार्यकर्ता, उन्हीं सबको अगर हम प्रचार प्रसार करके इस विषयों को जन सामान्य के बीच में ले जाएंगे, तो निश्चित रूप से सभी को ये श्रेय जाएगा। निश्चित सभी का मैं हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूँ।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर गोविंद जी। और आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा है कि विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद का सतत प्रयास रहता है कि वो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष के द्वारा किसी भी प्रकार की अगर कोई कैंपेन चलाई जाती है तो परिषद उसमें बढ़ चढ़कर धरातल तक सहयोग करता है। पूर्व में भी किया है और आगे भी करते रहेंगे। कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं अपने राष्ट्रीय सचिव रामतीर्थ शर्मा जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि आज के हमारे विशिष्ट अतिथि डॉक्टर रघुराम भट्ट जी का एक संक्षिप्त परिचय हम लोगों के बीच में रखें। रामतीर्थ शर्मा जी।
धन्यवाद सर। आज के हमारे मुख्य अतिथि परमादरणीय डॉक्टर रघुराम जी भट्ट वर्तमान में मेडिकल असेसमेंट एंड रेटिंग बोर्ड NCISM भारत सरकार के माननीय अध्यक्ष हैं। आपने जामनगर से अपना स्नातकोत्तर PG डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ द्रव्य गुण से किया और उसके बाद कर्नाटक में ही बेंगलोर में ही आपने अध्यापन कार्य किया। सुश्रुत आयुर्वेद कॉलेज बेंगलोर में आप प्रधानाचार्य प्राचार्य रहे और वर्षों तक अध्यापन कार्य के बाद विगत 2 वर्षों से आप भारत सरकार के इस दायित्व पर अपना कार्य वहन कर रहे हैं और बड़े ही समर्पण के साथ, निष्ठा के साथ और इस पूरे परिवर्तन के लिए वो अपनी जिद्दोजहद के साथ अपने प्रयासों में लगे हुए हैं। आप संस्कृत के बहुत ही अच्छे विद्वान हैं, बहुत ही अच्छे प्रवर्तक भी हैं और संस्कृत भाषा में बात करने में आप बहुत ही श्रेष्ठ वार्ताकार भी हैं। ऐसे परम आदरणीय डॉक्टर रघुराम जी भट्ट आज के हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में मुख्य अतिथि हैं। ये हम सबके लिए गौरव की बात है। उनका स्वागत है, वंदन है, अभिनंदन है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने मेरे को इस परिचय के लिए बुलाया। आदरणीय
धन्यवाद
प्रणाम।
रामतीर्थ जी। And there are 2-3 requests just to speak in English because today we have some international students attending this webinar. So I can request those who are not well versed with the Hindi. So please don't worry. Our main speaker will speak in bilingual language, either in Hindi as well as in English. So please be here for some time, and we will provide you the translation as captions in our YouTube channel. Thank you. अब मैं आदरणीय रघुराम जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि आज के इस अवसर पर 2 शब्दों से हम सब लोगों को अनुग्रहित करें। डॉक्टर रघुराम जी भट्ट, अनम्यूट हो जाए सर, म्यूट हो गया।
सदाशिव समारंभां चरकाचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरा। आदरणीय योगेश जी, आदरणीय गोविंद जी, आदरणीय अश्विन भार्गव जी, आदरणीय सुरेंद्र जी, अन्ये अत्र सम्मिलिताः ये केपि वैद्य विद्वांसः, आयुर्वेद वैद्याः तथा श्रोतारः। यतः अद्य आंग्लभाषया अपि वक्तव्यम् इति उक्तं, तस्मात् कारणात् संस्कृतेन आरभ्य अहं तदनन्तरम् आंग्लभाषया विषयं प्रस्तौमि। विशेषतः आहारविषयः अत्र स्वीकृतः। आहारः एव शरीरस्य कृते अत्यन्तम् आवश्यकः। अस्माकं शास्त्रे उक्तम् अस्ति आहार संभवं वस्तु देहो ह्याहार संभवः इति. So this quotation denotes towards the importance of ahara or the food. It is told that whatever is there in this world is made out of ahara, and the body is also made out of ahara. This denotes towards the Panchabhautika Siddhanta or the Panchabhautika built-up of the body. The five elemental theory, what we call Prithivya, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha, or the earth, water, fire, and air, and the space. It is known to us that all the things in this world are made out of Panchamahabhutas, and the body is also made out of Panchamahabhuta. In the body, Panchamahabhutas are represented with Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and in the food materials, Panchamahabhutas are represented with Shadrasas. So now, how to use the food to correct your body or correct your imbalance of the Tridosha is to be understood. If we know the Gunakarma of Tridosha, that is what we say, Tatra Ruksho Lagushita Karasukshmas Chalo Nilaha, etc. If we are able to identify the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha in our body, and if we are able to identify the increase and decrease of these Vata, Pitta, Kapha in our body, then when there is increase in Vata, we have to take the food substance which will decrease Vata. That is beautifully explained by Vagbhata in his Ashtanga Hridaya. One shloka is enough to understand that. That is Tatra Ruksho Lagushita Karasukshmas Chalo Nilaha. Kshametam. It is Tatradya Marutam Gnanti Trayastiktadaya Kapam Kashaya Tikta Madura Pittam Anyetu Purvate. So that is a beautiful shloka in which we can understand how these Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Tikta, Kotu, Kashaya, 6 rasas, what we call, will reduce or increase the Tridoshas. The first 3, that is sweet, sour, and salt, Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Marutam Ghananti will cure Vata. When Vata is increased in our body, if we take Madhura, Amla, Lavana rasas, then we can reduce Vata and bring Vata into its balanced state. When Kapha is increased, we have to take Tikta, Katu, Kashaya, and that will bring down the increased Vata, and that will restore the balance of Tridoshas. Same way in Pitta, Katu, Amla, Lavana, if we take, they will increase Pitta. And when Pitta is increased, if you take Kashaya, Tikta, Madhura, they will decrease Pitta. This is a simple explanation of the natural phenomena which is adopted in Ayurveda, both to maintain the health as well as cure the diseases. We know that the dual aim of Ayurveda is Swastasya Swasthya Rakshanam Maturasya Vikara Prashamanam. Maintaining the health of the healthy and curing the disease of the diseased. In simple words, if we say. So that can be attained by understanding the food materials in terms of Shadrasas or 6 tastes. The same way, it is told that in Kannada there is a say, Uta Ballavanige Rogavilla. That means one who knows what to eat, what not to eat, will not be afflicted with any disease. So that is the importance of food, what it is told. How to take, what to take, when to take, where to take. That is explained in detail in Ayurveda. In Annaswarupa Vijnaniya, Dravadravya Vijnaniya, the qualities of food is explained in Ashtanga Hridaya, where each and every food item is explained with its properties and action. Then, if we understand these properties and action, then we will be able to utilize them judiciously according to the dinacharya as well as the rutucharya. According to the seasons or according to the ritu, we have to change our food habits or food articles. That's what is told. We know that according to the ritu, there is natural increase in the doshas. We say that in Vasanta Ritu or in the autumn, kapha increases. That is spring god. In Varsha Ritu or the rainy season, vata increases. And in Sharad Ritu or in the again autumn, winter autumn, that is pitta increases. So we have to change our food habits according to the Chaya Prakopa Prashama of three doshas. Chaya Prakopa Prashama Vayor Grishmadishu Trishu Varshadishu tu Pittasya Shleshmana Shishiradishu, it is told. Accordingly, we have to change our food habits. If Chaya is there, then Chaya Eva Jaya Dosham. We have to change our food habit accordingly and reduce that dosha which is getting accumulated in the particular season. Then a swastha person or a non-doctor can also understand what's happening in the body and how he has to change his food habit. It is told in Ashtanga Hridaya that kurvatehi ruchim dosha viparita samanayoho vruddha kshinascha bhuyishtam lakshayanti abudhastuna. Means the doshas will naturally show their likes and dislikes, or it is called cravings. Natural cravings will be there. If you have the craving for sweet taste, that shows that vata is increased in your body. If you have craving for pungent or astringent, that is we call katu taste or acrid taste, then it shows that you have kapha increased in your body. If you have desire towards cold items, then that shows that pitta is increased in your body. So this is the natural craving. The body shows itself with its cravings that such particular dosha is increased. By understanding that, if we are able to take the particular food material and correct that, then we will not be afflicted with with the disease. So this is the principle what we have to understand in food habits and maintaining our health. That is called Ayurvedic lifestyle or Ayurvedic food habit. That's, I think, our Kashinath Samagandi sir will be explaining it in detail, how we have to go for Ayurvedic Ahara and what is the importance of Ayurvedic Ahara. At last, I would like to say one thing. In Ayurveda, it is told, Sayam Prataram Manushyana Ashanam Vidhimashthitam. So, as per Ayurveda, only 2 food timings are there. 2 times you have to take food. In the morning and in the evening. There is no noon food. There are many people who wrongly propagate that noon is the best time for food because it is a pitta time. No, it is not told. Nowhere in Ayurveda it is told that we have to take food in the pitta time. No. Ahara should be, Ahara Kala is different. Prasrishte vinmutre hridi suvimale doshe swapadake Vishuddhe chodgare suvimale Vishuddhe chodgare hridi suvimale vate nusarati Tathagna udrikte Vishada karane dehe cha sulagavu prayunjitaharam vidhiniyamitam kala sahimataha. That is what told. Generally, once you have taken the food, what is to be left, that is Sara and the Kitta, the material which is to be excreted is to be cleared. Prasrishta Vinmutra should be there, and you should have a little Udgara. There should be little Vata you feel in the body and in your stomach. Then when you feel hungry, that time, actually it is always the after Vata Kala or after Kapha Kala, the Vata Kala comes, that time the food is to be taken. And when it reaches the Pitta Kala, there should be the digestion. After 1.5 hours, if it reaches the Pitta Kala, then naturally there will be good digestion. That's what is the Kala which is told. That is to be understood. And I hope further it is our speaker who will be speaking regarding that more. So I am not going to speak too long here. And it's my very interest subject also, Ahara, and how Ayurvedic Ahara Paddhati is to be followed. And I was instrumental in writing a book also in this, in through Samskrita Samvardhana Pratishtanam, which is in Sanskritam. All collection of any shlokas related to those Ahara Paddhati was also being done. And I wish this seminar will be very fruitful and very helpful for all the listeners. I thank for the organizers for giving me opportunity to discuss with you regarding this and interact with you. And sarvebhya mama namaskaraha. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you, Dr. Raghuramji, for enlightening us with the wisdom of Ayurveda regarding Ahar by citing different textual references in this regard. और आपको सुनना हमेशा अच्छा लगता है। मैं अपने श्रोताओं के साथ एक एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करूंगा। अभी पिछले माह जयपुर में 2 दिवसीय कार्यशाला का आयोजन विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद ने किया था। तो आदरणीय रघुराम जी उसमें विशिष्ट अतिथि के रूप में उपस्थित थे और गवर्नर साहब राजस्थान के आदरणीय कलराज मिश्र जी भी उसमें थे। तो भट्ट साहब जी का जो अभिभाषण था वो पूर्णतया संस्कृत और आंग्ल भाषा में मिश्रित था, जिसमें इंग्लिश का पार्ट बहुत थोड़ा था। तो जैसे ही गवर्नर साहब ने अपना उद्बोधन शुरू किया तो उनके वो शब्द मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ। उन्हें लगा कि मैं पहली बार सुन रहा हूँ कि संस्कृत में इतना अच्छा व्याख्याता कोई हो सकता है। एंड ही वाज वेरी हैप्पी बाय अटेंडिंग दैट सेमिनार। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका आदरणीय भट्ट साहब कि आपने अपने व्यस्त समय में से परिषद के लिए थोड़ा सा समय निकाला। हम निश्चित रूप से आपके आभारी हैं। मैं डॉक्टर विनोद गौतम जी जो राजस्थान विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद के महासचिव हैं, उनसे आग्रह करूंगा कि आज के हमारे मुख्य वक्ता काशीनाथ जी का एक संक्षिप्त परिचय हम लोगों के बीच में रखें। आदरणीय विनोद गौतम जी।
नमस्कार। आयुर्वेद दिवस 2022 के उपलक्ष्य में आयोजित विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद द्वारा आयोजित इस वेबिनार के द्वितीय लेक्चर में उपस्थित सभी सभासदों को नमस्कार, प्रणाम। आज का जो हमारा विषय है आहार, आयुर्वेद में आहार या आयुर्वेदा डाइटेटिक्स एंड मॉड्यूलेशन। इसके जो हमारे मुख्य वक्ता हैं वो हैं डॉक्टर काशीनाथ समगंडी जी। डॉक्टर काशीनाथ समगंडी जी वर्तमान में राष्ट्रीय आयुर्वेद संस्थान जयपुर में एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर के पद पर कार्यरत हैं। डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी ने अपनी एमडी उपाधि एचडीएम कॉलेज, आयुर्वेद कॉलेज हसन कर्नाटक से कंप्लीट की। उसके बाद उन्होंने पूरा अपना कार्य शैक्षणिक विषय में लगाया और लगभग 14 वर्ष का उनको शैक्षणिक अनुभव है, टीचिंग एक्सपीरियंस है। डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी ने अब तक लगभग 20 अपने निर्देशन में पीजी थीसिस कंप्लीट करा चुके हैं और काफी जो इंटरनेशनल और नेशनल जो पब्लिकेशंस हैं, जर्नल हैं, उनमें उनके 35 से अधिक पेपर पब्लिश हो चुके हैं। डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी द्वारा आयुर्वेद विषयों पर विशेषकर जो उनका विशिष्ट प्रिय विषय है आहार और विहार या स्वस्थ एवं योग, जिसमें उनकी उपाधि है, उसमें उन्होंने 4 पुस्तकें और 2 मोनोग्राम पब्लिश करवाए हैं। लगभग 35 से ज्यादा उनके पेपर पब्लिश हो चुके हैं और काफी हेल्थ मैगजीन्स और न्यूज़पेपर्स में उनके निरंतर पेपर आते रहते हैं, प्रिंट होते रहते हैं। डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी की विशेष जो विशेषज्ञता है वो आयुर्वेद डाइटेटिक्स एंड मॉड्यूलेशन में ही है, और उनका आयुर्वेदिक जीवनचर्या, आयुर्वेदिक लाइफ स्टाइल पे भी उनकी विशेषज्ञता है। और इन विषयों पर वो भारत में ही नहीं, काफी सारे विदेशों में भी अपने व्याख्यान दे चुके हैं और वहां पर आयुर्वेद का परचम फहरा चुके हैं। हम सौभाग्यशाली हैं कि आज डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी का हमें मार्गदर्शन मिलेगा। आदरणीय रघुराम जी भट्ट जी ने और गोविंद शुक्ला जी सर ने, महेश जी व्यास जी सर ने काफी संक्षिप्त रूप में हमें आहार का एक परिचय कराया, आयुर्वेद में आहार का क्या महत्व है। हम पूरा वर्णन डॉक्टर काशीनाथ जी से प्राप्त करेंगे, उनका मार्गदर्शन मिलेगा। सर, विश्व आयुर्वेद परिषद परिवार की तरफ से मैं आपका इस मंच पर स्वागत करता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर विनोद जी। अब मैं आदरणीय काशीनाथ जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि आज के अपने मुख्य विषय पर अपना प्रेजेंटेशन हम लोगों के बीच में रखें। आदरणीय काशीनाथ जी।
सर, मेरा स्लाइड्स विजिबल है?
नहीं, स्लाइड्स विजिबल नहीं हो पा रही हैं, स्क्रीन जरूर शेयरिंग दिखा रहा है। एक बार इसको क्लोज करके दोबारा से प्लीज करिएगा। हाँ, अब आ गया आ गया था, वो तभी आ गया था।
शुरू करो सर।
जी शुरू करिए। अभी पिछली बार आ गया था लेकिन अभी नहीं आ रहा है, स्लाइड नहीं आ रही है। आ गई अब।
गुणत्रये विभेदेन मूर्तित्रयमुपेविशे त्रयीभूत नेत्राय त्रिलोकीपतये नमः। सरस्वती नमो यस्यै प्रसादात् पुण्यकर्मिभिः बुद्धिदर्पणं संक्रांतं जगदाध्यक्षभिक्षे ब्रह्मदक्ष अश्वदेवेषु भारद्वाजं पुनर्वसु हुताशुवेश चरकप्रवृत्तभ्यो नमो नमः। पातांजलि महाभाष्य चरकप्रति संस्कृतं मनोवाक्काय दोषाणां हरिपतये नमः। Respected dignitaries and today's chief guest, Professor Raghuram Bhatt sir, and all the team member of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, and all the today's audience. The topic which I am going to discuss today is Ayurveda Ahara. So, after listening the welcome remark of Raghuram Bhatt sir, so Raghuram Bhatt sir briefly explained all the things. So I thought to quote one line at the end of the session, but now I feel that I need to quote that initially. So in Bhagavad Gita, it has been stated that Yukta Ahara Viharasya Yukta Chestasya Karmasu Yukta Sapna Bodhasya Yogo Bhavatu Dukkha. Well, what exactly they want to say is that if you want to maintain your body, Ahara is not only the major tool, even you need to maintain Vihara. That is Ahara and Vihara together. When it comes together, then only we will be able to manage our health. So today I am going to touch only one factor, that is Ahara, and I will try to explain all the things in very briefly regarding the what is exactly the concept of Ahara in Ayurveda. As we all know that Ayurveda believes the concept of Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. That is, even it accepts the concept of Panchamahabhautika Siddhanta. What exactly they want to say is that Visargadana Vikshepo Soma Surya Anilayataha Dharaye Jagadeham Sleshma Pitta Anilatataha. What exactly they want to say is that how the universe is mainly managed by the Surya, that is sun, moon and wind. In the same way, our body is also balanced by the Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Whenever there is imbalance in sun, moon and wind, it will lead to the lots of catastrophic events in the environment like earthquake or even tsunami or tornado like events. In the same way, whenever there is an imbalance of Vata, Pitta, Kapha in your body, it is going to produce lots of physical, physiological, and pathological, and even psychological changes in our body. But it is very difficult to control the environmental factor like Surya, Chandra, and Anila. But it is very easy to control the internal factor, that is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. It can be controlled by mainly three upakaranas. What we say, we all know that there is a concept called as upakaranas like ahara, nidra, and brahmacharya, and what we call it as a trayo upastamba. So if you want to maintain your body, ultimately, even we need to focus on the controlling of trayo upastambas, that is ahara, nidra, and brahmacharya. So among the trayo upastamba, why they had given the importance to the ahara, why they mentioned the ahara first, why it is not mentioned after nidra, why it is not mentioned after brahmacharya or abrahmacharya. So again, here the importance of ahara is that ahara, in simple way, if I want to say, it is the source of energy. Until and unless if you don't have energy, you can't conserve it, and even you can't utilize it. Ultimately, first we need to conserve the energy, or you need to take the energy. So that energy what we are going to get is from the ahara. That is the reason why they mentioned ahara first in the Trayopastamba. Ahara is the source of energy. Nidra is the act of state of energy conservation, and brahmacharya or abrahmacharya is the act of energy consumption. So ultimately, to maintain the major pillar Vata, Pitta, Kapha, we need to maintain, or we need to balance the Trayopastamba, Ahara, Nidra, Brahmacharya. So first we will discuss, like today we are going to discuss about the importance of Ahara. As we all know that there are numerous Falashruti where it has been stated Ahara is having its own beneficial effect on mind and body, like Annam Vrittikaranam Sreshtam. It is one of the survival factors. And even it is stated Arogyam Bhojanadina. So if you want to maintain your arogya, if you want to maintain your health, ultimately it depends upon the bhojana, how you are going to consume and what you are going to consume. Kala bhojanam, arogya karana. So if you have the habit of consuming the food timely, again it will help to maintain your arogya. So along with that, even there are reference saying that prana prana bhutam annam mannam loko abhidhavataha varna prasada saushidhyam jivitam pratibhasukam tushti pushtir balarmedam sarvamannam pratishtita. So what exactly they want to say is that ahara is the major tool to physical health, like varna, color, complexion, strength, everything depends upon the ahara. In the same way, tushti pushtir bala, satisfaction, and even meda, concentration, memory, everything will depends upon the ahara. Ultimately, ahara helps to maintain the physical health as well as mental health. And even it has been stated that if you just stick on to the healthy food habits, you will be able to survive for 100 years. That is, Shat Trimshat Sahasrani Ratrani Jeevayat Anapuraha Itabhojanat. So if you just stick on to the healthy food habits, you will be able to survive for Shat Trimshat Sahasrani Ratrani. That is 36,000 nights you will be healthy. Just if you consume the healthy diets. So these are some of the benefits what exactly Ayurveda mentions regarding the ahara. But in contrast to this, there are other references where it says that even, like for example, ekarasa abhyasa roga karana. So if you stick on to intake of only one taste, madura, excessively, you will end up with the diseases like Santarpana Janya Vyadhi. If you take excessive amount of lavana and amla, you will end up with the diseases like Twak Vikaras. So in such a way, they had mentioned that ekarasa abhyasa roga karana, pranitashanam roga karana. That is, if you have a habit of taking very less amount, again it may affect your body adversely. And even initially, Raghuram Bhatt sir also quoted that line that ahara sambhavam vastu rogascha ahara sambhavam hita hita vishesho sukha dukkadaya. What exactly they want to say is that if you want to be happy, if you want to get the sukha, if you want to maintain your health, mind and body, ultimately you need to stick on to the ita ahara. contrast to that, if you take ahita ahara, then you will end up with the dukkha. You will end up with the lots of various physical and mental ailments. So again, even they are saying that hita ahara upayoga eka eva purusha vriddhi karana. That is, if you stick on to the hita ahara, it will help in maintenance of your health. Ahita ahara upayogani punarvyadi nimittata. If you have the habit of intake of ahita ahara, it is going to affect your body adversely. And even while explaining the concept of viruddhahara, Shendendra Visarpatakodaranam, Vispotaka Unmada Bagandaranam. So again, he had mentioned lots of diseases while explaining the viruddhahara in the context of ahitahara, asatmyahara. So again, he explained a lot of disadvantage of consuming of ill ahitaharas. Ultimately, food is something that it should be taken very calibrated way, very vigilantly, very calibrated way we need to consume. If you don't focus on food, then obviously that food may affect your body and it may give rise to the diseases. That is the reason we need to balance everything whenever we are consuming the ahara. So again, we know that there is a famous line in Ayurveda saying that yoga di vedadi yatva patyanam papadyate. Tat vedanta datyastat tatvad viruddham api nivartate. What exactly they want to say? If you take the ahara in meticulously with the calibrated way, if you take that, ahara will become as a patya. Apatya can also be made into the patya when it is calculated, when it is taken in a calculated way. Suppose if you are taking the hita ahara, nutritious food, if it is not in calculated way, that same nutritious food may affect your body adversely. And even like yoga dapi visham tikshnam uttamam by Puryuktam Tikshnam Sampadyate Visham. Exactly. If you take the poison in a calibrated way, that poison may act as a medicine. If you take the medicine in uncalculated way, same medicine may affect your body adversely. Ultimately, what they want to say is that whenever you are consuming or whenever you are taking the concept of ahara, vihara, everything should be calibrated. That is the reason even Bhagavad Gita, it has stated, Yukta ahara viharasya, Yukta chestasya karmasu. What is Yukta? Yukta is something that you need to use your skill. You need to use your intelligence whenever you are accepting the concept of ahara or vihara. So if you don't use your skill, then obviously ahara vihara may affect your body adversely. So to understand how exactly ahara is going to affect our body, then we need to be very much vigilant. So today I will focus much on these points. And before that, just I would like to when we say that what is the definition of dietetics in modern science, we usually say that it's a calibrated way of intake of food on the basis of age, gender, occupation. Calibrated way or calculated way of intake of food is considered as the dietetics. Same thing, if we say what is the definition of dietetics in Ayurveda, then how we need to explore this concept. So if we all know that while explaining the patya concept, Charakacharya says that patyam pato anapetam educhokta manasapyam. Matra kala kriya bhumi deha dosha gunantaram. So actually this line can be best suitable to define what is exactly Ayurveda dietetics. That is Ayurveda way of consuming the food for the purpose of preservation and promotion of the health after considering certain factors like desha, kala, atmaguna, agni and vayo avastha. So when we consider these physiological factors and consume, then that food is going to help your body, and that can be considered as the Ayurveda dietetics or Ayurveda way of food consumption. So whenever we are consuming any kind of food, ultimately major tools what you are supposed to accept is kriya. Kriya is nothing but the matra kala kriya bhumi deha dosha gunantaram. So kriya is nothing but the kriya is something processing of the food. So you need to process in such a way that which is suitable to you. So if you are staulya, if you are suffering from the disease of sandarbhanajanya vyadis like stula pramehi, or you are suffering from staulya, if you are suffering from any hyperlipidemia or diabetes like conditions, and there are different method of processing, there are different method of food cooking. So if you belongs to the vata prakriti, if you belongs to the pitta or kapha prakriti, again there are different method of food processing methodologies. In such a way, we need to adopt this processing and we need to modulate according to our need and you need to consume. If you don't modulate, ultimately, again, same ahara, which is considered as nutritious, it may affect your body adversely. So again, kala and matra, because nowadays, very much, many people are very much fond of eating the nutritious food, but they don't know how to eat, when to eat, what is the appropriate time of food consumption. Because if you take nutritious food, but your body is not prepared for the appropriate digestion and absorption of your absorption of particular nutrient, then same nutrient may affect your body adversely. So ultimately, Ayurveda concept of understanding of Ayurveda dietetics is not only just related to the preparation of the food, even it also focus on like how to prepare your body before consuming the food, and after the consuming the food, how you need to, which kind of viharas you need to adopt to helps in which helps the consumed food to get digested and absorbed and assimilated. So these parts are very important aspect of Ayurveda Ahara. So we will discuss those parts in detail. So before that, as I stated earlier, in Ayurveda, we have the concepts of Ahara in different headings. Like it may be like Patya, Satmya, Hita Ahara, and even Ashtahara Vidvishesha Aitanaha, Dvadasha Ashana Pravicharana. So and even Krutana Varga, so and even Ahara Varga. So there are numerous concepts explained in Ayurveda regarding the Ahara. But even after this one, there are very less people who stick on to stick on to the advising the healthy diets. Because even when we see the prescription of Ayurveda doctors, most of the time we see the prescription of the medications, but we don't see any prescription of dietetics modifications, what they advise. Because even after having the lots of references, still Ayurveda people are not able to advise the appropriate diet to the appropriate person. Why exactly? Why the people are not following the concept of ahara in prescription? Because of certain what we call like obstacles, stumbling blocks, you can say. There are certain blocks or certain impediments or certain obstacles which making all the Ayurveda doctors to not to prescribe the ahara in their prescription. So what are those? First, we need to understand what are the major obstacles affecting all the Ayurveda acharyas. So first, coming to the first limitation, what we see is that like there under appropriate understanding and application of the fundamentals of aharas are not followed. There is a lots of limitation in this one, because you know that I am fortunate enough to being a South Indian now since 12 years. I am serving in North India. Because when I was in South India, most of our teachers and many seniors used to propagate us that you need to focus much on the Ashtanga Hridaya or Ashtanga Sangraha. But when I came to the North India, here most of the people are focusing on Charaka or else Sushruta. And even the people who are focused on this Charaka, he never think to open the classic text of any Sushruta or Vagbhata. In the same way, even in South, it happens like that. They won't see any other text other than Ashtanga Hridaya. So if you limit the studying of classical text to the only one literature, obviously there will be lots of limitation, because there are lots of concepts which are explained in various Ayurveda literature. It is not only limited in the Brahutrayas. Even we can get lots of information in the Laghutrayas. Even we need to refer the references in the Nigantus, and even latest Priya Nigantu, Kayadeva Nigantu. Even they had explained lot of information. Why I am focusing this part? Because suppose if you ask the what is the Gunadharma of Lajamanda, so we know that because Lajamanda explanation is there in Ayurveda. In the same way, if I ask what are the Gunadharma of pizza, burger, hamburger, then obviously certainly many of the people will say that these references are not available in Ayurveda, isn't it?
Dr.
But
Kasinath
it's not like that. Because in the context of in Ashtanga, he says that iti dravya kriya yogo manajai sarvam adisha, on the basis of kriya,
Kasinath
on the basis of ingredients which are used and which is the processing method they adopted. If you calculate these things,
Sir, your voice is not clear. You can do one thing. You can
Hello.
switch off your video, so that may be helpful.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but your voice is cracking.
Am I audible?
So
सुरेंद्र सर, आप आवाज कट आ रहा है, कोई बात कर रहा है, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
नहीं, आप ही का कट कट के आ रहा है, बात सब म्यूटेड है, ऑल आर म्यूटेड. So you can do one thing, you can switch off your video, so that can may improve a bit.
Pardon, sir?
You can switch off your video.
Yeah. Okay, fine. No issues. Okay, fine. Now is it clear, sir?
A little bit, but it's still, yeah, go ahead. I think this is the network problem. No one can help us.
Okay.
Thank you, please.
So ultimately, what I want to say is that we need to understand the fundamentals. Wherever we get the reference of ahara, whether it is a Brahutraya, Lagutraya, sorry, in any Nigantu, or and even in even in certain text like what we call like Bhojan Kutuvala. So even if you get the reference, we need to see, because for example, as I stated, if you want to know the quality of dal bati churma, what is the staple food of like in Rajasthan, and even if you want to know the what is the quality of kadi, kadi, so these references we will get in Lagutrayas, especially in Bhav Prakash. He explains about the what we call Angara Karkati. Angara Karkati is nothing but the bati. So and even like even while explaining the like Kwatita is nothing but kadi. So we may get the lots of references in Lagutrayas, even in Nigantus, and even latest textbook, Ayurveda text. So we need to focus on each and every fundamentals. When you see each and every fundamentals, then it will help to like take out the major limitation. And another is that whenever we say about Ayurveda dietetics, we much focus on the Kritana Vargas, that is how to prepare, how to convert the quality of the food. We will focus much on these things. But so Ayurveda concept of dietetics not only limited to the preparation of the food. Even Ayurveda says that how to collect the particular ahara dhanyas, how to store, and how to prepare. So Ayurveda concept of dietetics starts from the selection of the dravyas, because for example, Ayurveda says that Navam Dhanyam Abhishyandam Lagu Samvatsaroshitam. So he says that Navadanya is Lagu and Navadanya is Guru, Abhishyandi, and Purana Dhanya is Lagu. So if you start the application of the Ayurveda dietetics starting from the selection, it will give the miraculous result when you advise to the particular diseased person. So if the person is Santarpana Janya Vyadhi, make him to select the Purana Dhanyas, which is Lagu in nature. So you need to start from the, so you need to apply the concept of ahara starting from the selection. And even while explaining the even concepts like yasya deshashiyo jantuhu tajjatasya aushadair hitam. So Ayurveda says that you need to always select the regional food and even seasonal food. So this concept nowadays, because of this technology, or because of this technology, many food products are like marketed or traveled from one place to another place. South Indian people, North Indian people are very much fond of eating the idli, dosa, and even they are very much fond of drinking this coconut water. I don't feel that there is any rationale in consuming these things, because Ayurveda says that you need to consume those food which is available in your place. According to the habitat, you need to take the food. So that is the reason. These are some of the concepts which are explained in the Ayurveda. But Ayurveda people much focus on how to prepare the food, what is manda, peya, vilepi, odana. So in such a way we focus. But if you start focusing on the selection of the food and how to storage the food, and later if you focus on the preparation of the food, then literally that will help to apply the concept appropriately. And even like Ayurveda concept of food not only focus on the preparation of the food, even it will focus on the how to prepare yourself before you consuming the food, and after the consumption, what are the activities you need to do for the proper digestion of the food what you consume. Even that is Bhojana Purva Karma and Bhojana Paschat Karma is also one of the major tools which comes under the Ayurvedic dietetics. We won't focus on this. For example, Bhojanagre Sadapatyam Lavanadraka Bhakshanam. So Ayurveda always says that we need to start like eating the lavana and ardraka before food, which will help, which will kindle your appetite, which will increase your digestion, or which will ignite your pachakagni. So our agni. So when you start with the lavanadraka bhakshana, it will ignite your agni. If your agni is appropriate, whatever you are going to consume, that will be easily and appropriately digested. So in the same way, even they says that there should be a gap of near to 6 to 8 hours from one meal to another meal. So this is also very important. Suppose if you consume 3 hours before, so we are not supposed to jump into the taking the next meal, because Ayurveda says that like yata yamam gatarasam puti yama madhye na bhuktavyam yama yugve na lange. Ayurveda says that there should be a gap of 6 hours from one meal to another meal. Isn't it? This is also very important tool to assess before having the food. If there is a sufficient gap of 6 to 8 hours before like between the one meal to another meal, then that is the appropriate time to consume the food. And even Ayurveda also says that you need to see the agni. Matra shishyat ahara matra punaragni balapekshani. The quantity of the food and time of the food are all calculated on the basis of agni. First, we need to see what how is your agni. That Ayurveda says that jirnahara lakshanas, like especially like udgar shuddrotsaha vegotsarga etoditam lagutaha kshut pipasa jirnahara lakshanam. Before having food, you need to see that you have laguta in the body, whether you got natural like physiological appetite or not. We need to assess these things. And even in Ashtangara, they mentioned like Raghuram Bhatt sir earlier they mentioned that prasushte vinmutre rudisu vimale doshe swapagate vishuddhe udgare kshudopagamane vate anusarati tatagnava udnike vishadakarane dehecha sulagav prayunjitahara vidiniyamanta kala sahimata. So ultimately, these are the jirnahara lakshanas. First, we need to see whether we attained all these jirnahara lakshanas or not. If you didn't occur these things, then you are not supposed to take the food. So these are some of the preparatory procedures, what we call like bhojana purva karma. You need to assess, then only you need to advise to go for the proper diet. And another very important is post meal activities or bhojana paschat karma. Again, this is also some of the things which is not at all practiced. Like they said like bhuktvat rajavat asit, bhuktvat rajavat asit and bhuktvat shatapadam gachet naistatu jayate annasangata shetile. So bhuktvat rajavat asit. So soon after having food, you should not indulge in any excessive physical activity. Rather than you need to focus on sitting as a rajavat. And later you need to indulge in shatapada gatva. That is, you need to at least mild walking should be done. And even they says that achamana, kavala, tambula sevana. So these are some of the post meal activities what Ayurveda explains. So if you don't follow the bhojana purva karma and bhojana paschat karma, then ultimately, even though if you are taking the nutritious food, then that food will go vain. So ultimately, so from the selection of the food, from the preparation of from the storage of the food, from the preparation and preparation of the body and bhojana paschat karma, everything will comes under the concept of Ayurveda dietetics. And most of the time, you know that nowadays people are very much fond of like calculating the calories. Ayurveda never focus on the calories. Ayurveda, whatever it focus, that is on the ahara, like panchamahabhutas present in the ahara, and even they will focus on the guru lagu gunas. Because Ayurveda, there is a beautiful line in K Park. I used to quote and I used to like explain my students regarding the calorie. In Park, they mentions one line. They says that what we are eating is the food, not the calorie. What we eating is the food, not the calorie. Considering the appetite, flavor, and fats create the nonsense in dietitian theory. See how beautifully they mentions, because whatever we are consuming is food. We are not consuming the calorie. And whenever if you are consuming the food, if you just see the appetite, flavor, and trending food habits, then these things will create the nonsense in the dietitian theory. So that is the reason why we should say that Ayurveda principles are superior than any other principles. Ayurveda always says that whenever you are consuming the food, you need to see the Desha, Kala, Atma Guna, everything. Vyadhi Avastha, Sharira Avastha, Agni Avastha, everything should be calculated. Then only you need to consume the food. So this is the weightage of our Ayurveda dietetics. So we are not supposed to focus on caloric food. That is, caloric food are essential to convince the all the modern minds. So if they want to know the what is the for the purpose of research activity, we can calculate. But literally, they are not applicable when it is like when we are handling the any patient or a healthy individuals. So and another is that many people are giving head to the lots of misconceptions which are trending. For example, trending misconceptions. You know that most of the time we see Ayurveda doctors. Any patient ask the Ayurveda doctor what should be the patya while taking the medication. Most of the doctors they says you are not supposed to take any sour food, any कटाई बंद कर देना, कटाई बंद कर दो, तीखा बंद कर दो, इस तरह बोल देते हैं. लेकिन ये क्यों बोलना है? क्योंकि it's not mandatory that amla rasa is prohibited to each and everyone. There are recommendation of amla rasa, especially while explaining the amla rasa guna. Charakacharya he says that vatanu lomayati, hridayam tarpayati. If the person is the victim of vata vikara, alone if he is suffering with the kevala vata vikaras, then you can advise amla rasa. If the person is victim of any hriday vikaras, you can advise the amla rasa. So in such a way, misconcepts we are not supposed to propagate. And even most of the time, we know that many Ayurveda doctors condemn the intake of sprouted grains. Say virudadanya Ayurveda में मना कर दिया है, हर व्यक्ति को मना करते. There are numerous thousands together research work which has stated that sprouted grains are very much nutritious. So when another science is saying that it is having the beneficial effect, then how come Ayurveda will be having the different thought? So I think there is a somewhat misunderstanding in applying the concept. So we are not supposed to cater such kind of knowledge or by just listening these misconceptions. And even Dadi, most of the time we condemn that Dadi should not be taken regularly. Okay, we accept. Naivadhyanishi Naivoshnam, Vasantoshna Sharatsun, Naivadhyanishi Naivoshnam, Naivadhyanishi every day it should not be taken, and at the night it is not supposed to be taken. We know that. But even there are certain indications of Dadi. For example, like while explaining the Gunadharma of Dadi, especially Ashtankara, he says that Medo Shukra Balam Sleshmam, Rakta Pittagni Shofakrut, especially to increase the Meda Dhatu, to increase the Shukra Bala, and Bala, ultimately Dadi is required. But instead of directly condemning or instead of directly like prohibiting the intake of Dadi is not a rationale. So we need to more vigilant when to advise, to whom to advise, which kind of food. So in such a way, there are lots of misconceptions. Another misconcept, we all know that like Madhu with Ushna Jala. There are lots of companies which are propagating the intake of Madhu with the Ushna Jala. But Ayurveda never recommends to take the Madhu with the Ushna Jala. He says that Ushnam Ushnam Rutu Ushnecha Yuktam Cha Ushna Nihanti Tat Prachardanam Niruhecha Madhu Ushnam Cha Nivartayet Alabdapakam Ashukam Nivartate. So they says that Madhu should not be heated directly or indirectly, and it is not supposed to be given to the Ushna Prakriti person, Pitta Prakriti person. So, and there are only exceptional for during the Niruha Basti and during the like Vamana Karma, it can be heated. Other than that, there is no any reference that we need to heat the Madhu directly or indirectly. But there are lots of advertisements going on that people says that it should be taken with the amla rasa, that is नींबू के साथ लेते हैं, उसको गर्म पानी के साथ देते हैं. ये सभी misconcept, इसको आप propagate करना शुरू कर रहे हैं, तो obviously the food what you are advising, that will give the adverse effect on the body. So in such a way, and even oats, we know that many people they have started comparing the oats with yavaka. Okay, yavaka is Trunadanya. Ayurveda directly condemns that yavaka is nikrushthadana, which is not supposed to be consumed. But there are thousands together research article where it has been stated that oats are very nutritious. Then how come Ayurveda says that it is different from other things? So I think there is a lots of misunderstanding, or there are lots of miscommunication with the text. So we need to justify what exactly oats, whether there is a reference or not. If there is a reference, and what it should be compared, rather than comparing blindly to the yavaka and making the person not to eat the oats. It's literally not acceptable like words. So, and even we know that nowadays there is a concept of what we call millet mania. So that should be there. But I feel personally like millets, especially Trunadanya, because of like Lekana property, because of Karshana property, they are supposed to be advised to the all Kapha Prakriti person, or it can be advised to those people who are residing in the Anupadesha, or the person who are suffering from the Santarpadajanya Vyadis. For them, it should be propagated. Because of this, sometimes propagation, even Vata Prakriti person who is suffering from the Vataja Vyadis, they are also started taking the these sprouts, these Trunadanyas, millets. Because of that, again, there is a chance of worsening of the condition. So ultimately, the concept, lots of misconceptions are trending in the market. So we need to be very much vigilant, which are supposed to be taken, and how we need to, before we accepting, we need to analyze from the Shastras, we need to analyze from the research data. Then you need to accept that. So just we are not supposed to give any head to the any misconcepts. And even Ayurveda also have lots of rituals, especially Annam Brahmam Rasor Vishnur Bhaktor Devo Maheshwara Iti Chintayati Drushti Dosha Vinashayati. Bhavaprakasha says that before having the food, you need to chant this mantra, Annam Brahmam Rasor Vishnur Bhaktor Devo Maheshwara. So there are lots of rituals even attached with the while taking the food. So that rituals you can incorporate while explaining the any Ayurveda diet concept. Because recently I was going through some of the like WhatsApp messages. So funnily it has just trolling that some of the doctor, he prescribed all the medicine. At last he mentioned that the person should chant the some Hanumanta mantra. He said you need to chant this mantra, but people are saying how come this mantra is going to help you? But Ayurveda has lots of references regarding, especially while discussing about the Vishamajvara. They says that Vishamajvara, during the Vishamajvara, Vishnu Sahasrama chanting should be done. So it has one or other way, it has its own importance. So even we need to find out lots of rituals which are related to the food. So if you incorporate these concepts, sure we are going to get the good results. So these are some of the stumbling blocks, so which are supposed to be addressed whenever you are advising any concepts related to the ahara. So next part is very important, that is how to approach whenever we are advising any kind of aharas, how we need to approach. So here, when we say ahara, most of the time we limit our knowledge up to the only anna, isn't it? But pana is the part and parcel of ahara, because Ayurveda says that balam arogyam ayushyam pranasya agni pratishtha. Anna panair indanacha. Anna and pana are the indana for the agni. So if you just focus on ahara, anna, but you are not focusing on the pana, then obviously pana may affect your body. Because nowadays trending is that people are consuming a lot and there are like modern people or many people, they advise to consume the water for 3 to 4 liters per day. But Ayurveda never mentions that one, because atyambu panam annam vipasitam annam nirambu panam saeva dosha. Excessive intake of water will leads to the apachita anna, that is agnimandya, and it will lead to the apachita anna. Nirambu panam saeva dosha. So if you not at all take the food throughout the day or while consuming the food, again, not taking water also affect your agni. So ultimately, we need to address even how we are more vigilant while advising the anna. Even we should be very much vigilant while explaining the pana. Anna and pana are supposed to be perfectly advised. And coming to the ahara, that is here in this context, ahara I am referring both anna and pana. So matra. So why we need to matra, kala and lakshana, why we need to assess? Because as I stated, whatever the nutritious food, if you are advising, if it is not taken at the right time, if it is not consumed in the right quantity, then obviously it is going to affect your body adversely. So what exactly when we say about kala, so what exactly Ayurveda says that kala for bhojan. So because kala bhojanam arogya karana, Ayurveda says that timely intake of food will help to maintain your arogya, isn't it? So if it is so, then what is the exact kala for the consumption? Because we know that even Raghuram Bhatt sir also stated that like a time of food consumption. Pratah sayam manusyanam ashanam shuddhi bodhitam nanantaram bhojanam agnihotri samayarapi. So even in Shushruta, he also mentions that su samskrutam yuktam doshair vivarjitam vivarjitam yukto gunasampannam upasevate bhojanam vibhajyam doshakaladinam kalayor ubayorapi. Vibhajyam doshakaladinam kalayor ubayorapi. Even Shushrutācārya says that person should take the food after assessing the dosha kala twice a day. So even Bhava Prakasha, that is Pratah Sayam. If it is Pratah Sayam, then what is the appropriate time for Pratah? Pratah ultimately after Suryodaya it will start. So then when we need to take the food, whether it should be taken at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So it will go on, isn't it? So what is exactly time? Because every person, whenever the patient will comes, so Ayurveda says that whenever you are prescribing ahara or aushadhi, we need to assess the Agni. And even we need to make the person to assess their own Agni. But we are not at all training the patients to assess their own Agni. Because Udgara Shuddhirosa Vegotsarge Atoditam. This is the very simple tool. We need to explain the patient that whenever they are consuming the food, first you need to assess your own Agni. If they assess their own Agni and they consume, then sure they are going to get the good result from the ahara and aushadhi. If you don't advise this one, even though if you are giving the amruta, that will go vain. Even though if you are advising the nutritious food, that will go waste. So Agni assessment should be, this knowledge should be catered to each and every patient or any healthy aspirant which is visiting your, who are visiting our Ayurveda dispensaries. So ultimately, first we need to make them to assess the Agni. But if they are not able to assess their Agni, at least we need to make them to go for timely intake of the food, that is Pratah Kala and Sayankala. If it is Pratah Kala, then what is the appropriate? So especially Jajjata Tika, he says that Pratham Bhojanam Sapada Prahare, Dvitiya Bhojanam Ardha Chaturtha Praharopai. Pratham Bhojanam Sapada Prahare. What is Sapada Prahare? So he says that it will, suppose if sunrise is 6 a.m., you can calculate Sapada Prahare between the 9:30 to 10:15 a.m. 9:30 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. is the appropriate time for the first meal. And Dvitiya Bhojanam Ardha Chaturtha Praharopari, it will come around between 7:30 to 8:15 p.m. So if you just stick on to this timing on the basis of sunlight, if you calculate and if you advise, these are very appropriate method and people will accept this one, because no one will be having the time to assess their work. At least on the basis of time they can consume. So this is the one of the best method you can advise the person to go for taking the Kalavat Bhojana. And even Ayurveda suggests that healthy individuals, to maintain the Samadosha, Samagnisha, Samadhatu Malakriya, person should consume twice a day. But it's not like that. Ayurveda has a concept of Ekakala Bhojana, Dvikala Bhojana, Trikala Bhojana, and even Jab Chahe Tab Ka Ho, ye bhi hai reference. Lekin it all depends upon the condition of the person. Like for example, Arogyam Ekabhuktena, Palyam Vrusham Vibhojana, Trivara Bhuktam Rogi Syat, Bunjita Arogya Rupateyo. आरोग्यम एक भुक्तेन, एक काल भोजन करने से आरोग्य का पालन होता है. बट इसको हम कब अप्लाई करना है? अब बच्चों में if you advise the एक काला भोजन for the children or for the youth, ultimately they will end up with the kshaya, they will end up with the vata vikaras. But आरोग्यम एक भुक्तेन, they says that one time meal will helps to maintain your health. There is a recent research which has been stated that after the age of 40, if the person will start having the food once a day, for them it will helps to promote their lifespan. It will increase their lifespan. So you can use this concept with that research that Arogyam Eka Bhuktena is preferably advised for the Vruddhapya. Balyam Vrusham Vibhojanat. So Bala, and for the purpose of attaining the Bala and Vrushata, you can advise for Balya Avastha, and for Yuva Avastha, Vikala Bhojana. So such research basic, if you research data, if you take, and Ayurveda concept, if you invite, that will helps to cater the knowledge of food appropriately. So in such a way, Kalavat Bhojana, so you need to advise, because Atita Kala, Akala Bhojana has its own adverse effect on our body. In the same way, another is Matra. How to decide the Matra? This will be the usually like a query of many people, sir, how to decide the Matra? Ayurveda says that Ahara Matra Punaragni Bala Apekshani. So it will depends upon the capacity of the Agni, isn't it? And what is the Ahara Matra and Samyak Matra? He says that Anupahatyam Prakurtim Yata Kalam Jaragachiti. That is the quantity of the food which is not going to affect your Prakurti, which is going to get digested appropriately within the time. that is considered as the matra. And even in Trikukshi Adhyaya, Charakacharya says that ekam avakasham amcham murtiman ahara vikaranam, ekam dravanam, ekam punah vata pitta sleshmanam. So you need to divide your stomach in 3 parts, and even Bhava Prakasha divide the stomach into 4 parts, like Kukshair Bhagdvayam Bojam, Tritayam Dravena Puraye, Chaturtam Martena Avasheshayet. So in such a way they will divide. But practically, is it possible to apply this concept? Isn't it? आप ऐसे बोल सकते हैं कि आप एक पार्ट में कुछ अन्न से भरिए, दूसरा पानी से, और तीसरा खाली छोड़िए. ये प्रैक्टिकली कैसे अप्लीकेबल होगा? सो इसको हम प्रैक्टिकली कैसे अप्लाई करना है? So ultimately, see, there are certain concepts, especially the concept nowadays, people have the concept of eating the food by sitting on the chair, and especially dining table, and even the buffet. So they will stand and they will have the food. If you have the tendency of these kind of food habits, ultimately you are not going to attain the Matravat Bhojana, because to decide the Matravat Bhojana, even Ayurveda says that Sukhamuchai Samasine Samadehe Anna Tatpara. Ayurveda says that you need to sit properly in Sukhasana and in Uchasana, and then you need to, why we need to sit on floor and why we need to have the food. So for every bowl of food, when you bend forward and take, so that forward bending and taking the meal, that will helps to indirectly attain the Matravat Ahara. So that may be the one of the concept why. So we need to propagate the people that instead of using these like modernization or modern method of food consumption, make them to go for classical way of food consumption, that sitting on the floor and take the food. So that may help you to attend the Matravat Bhojana. And even there are other lakshanas while explaining the Matravat, Samyak Matravat Ahara lakshanas, like Kukshair Prapedanam, Parshvair Avipatanam, like Rudayasya Anavarodaha, Sthana, Asana, Shayana, Gamana, Shwasvochwasa, Hasya Katasu, Sukana Vritti. That is the quantity of the food which doesn't put any pressure on your flanks, which doesn't shows any discomfort in your the chest, and which the quantity of the food which doesn't disturb your routine. Such quantity is considered as the appropriate. Even such kind of tools can also be used to assess the exact Matravat Ahara. So, and even coming to the lakshanas, and Ayurveda says that Ushnamashniyaat, Snigdhamashniyaat. So always we need to propagate the concept of taking the warm food, that is freshly prepared food. Ushnamashniyaat, Snigdhamashniyaat, even these kind of attributes of the food also helps in igniting the Agni. Because if you are taking the nutritious food, but it is not Ushna, if it is not Snigdha, same nutritious food is going to affect your body adversely. So in such a way, there are lots of concepts. Because of time limitation, I'm not elaborating these things. And whenever we are advising any concept of Ahara, even we need to fix or think about the concept of Nitya Sevani Ahara. Because Ayurveda had given the list of food products which are supposed to be consumed regularly. Especially Ashtanga Hridayakara, he explains that Shile Chali Goduma, Yavashashtika Jangala, Sunishanika, Jivanti, Balamulaka, Vastuka, Patyamalaka, Mrudvika. So these are some of the Ahara Dravyas which are supposed to be consumed regularly. So whenever the patient will comes, always we need to make the permutation and combination of the food from these list of the food. And even healthy individuals, regularly he should stick on to these Nitya Sevani Aharas. Once in a 15 days or once a while, if you go for any food which is not mentioned in the Nitya Sevana Ahara, that is acceptable. But regularly for Nitya Sevana, you need to always stick on to those food which are mentioned in the list of Nitya Sevana Ahara. You need to make a list and you need to propagate this concept to each and every individuals. And even Ahara Sanskaras, even we need to focus much on Ahara Sanskaras. Nowadays, just 1 or 2 examples I would like to quote here. So Ayurveda says that while preparing the Odana, Chawal Banate Samay, when we are preparing the rice, there are 2 methods Ayurveda explains. One is preparing the Odana in closed container, that is pressure cooker, and another is that preparing the rice in open vessel. So here he explains that any Odana rice which is prepared in the open vessel, they are lagu in nature. Any Odana which is prepared in the closed container like pressure cooker, they are guru in nature. So in the same way, there is one more research article related to the preparation of Mudgayusha in open vessel and in closed vessel. So that research article says that Mudgayusha, which is prepared in the open vessel, has the quality has the quality of like increased free radical scavenging activity, and there will be more alkalinity in the open vessel cooking. When the alkalinity of the food is increased, that will indirectly ignite your Agni. So ultimately, Ayurveda says that anything which is cooked in open vessel will ignite your Agni. So even Ayurveda has the same concept, and scientifically it has proven that. And they came to know that one food which are prepared in open vessel will be having the high radical scavenging activity. They have the lots of qualities which will takes out the free radical adverse effect. So ultimately, research data also says that so sanskara has its own effect. So according to the requirement, if the person is taulya, so for them always advise them to go for the intake of the food which are prepared in the open vessel. Any santarpana janya vyadis, open vessels, like and if the person is krusha, if the person is karsha, if the person is suffering with vataja vikara, then make them to take the food which are prepared in the closed container. So in such a way, sanskara concept can be implemented while advising the ahara dravyas, and even samasarva rasa abhyasa. This is also one of the major concept, like which Ayurveda propagates, that always we need to take food which is having the all shadrasas. Very simple example. Suppose if you are not able to attain all the shadrasa throughout the day, there are certain simple techniques, like you know that amalaki and haritaki. These are all pancharasa pradhanya. They don't have they are pancharasa pradhana, they don't have lavana rasa. So just if you make a pickle of amalaki, if you make a pickle of haritaki with the help of lavana rasa, then ultimately it will become the shad rasa. At least once a day, if you take consume the amalaki pickle or haritaki pickle, the one or other way you are going to attain the sarva rasa abhyasa. In such a way we need to approach, and always Ayurveda says that desha kala atma guna viparitanam karmanam. So if you want to remain healthy, always we need to take the food opposite to your doshas. If you are vata prakriti person, if you are suffering from vata vyadis, you need to take those food which will appease or which will nullify the vata doshas. So always we need to take the food, because nowadays there are many new diseases are erupting which we may not get any reference in Ayurveda, but Ayurveda says that nasti rogaha vina doshan, isn't it? There is no any roga without doshas. So on the basis of dosha involvement, you can see which dosha is affected, and according to that dosha, if you advise the diet, that will be a best appropriate method to advise. So on the basis of doshic involvement, you need to advise, and very important point is that you need to see the specific agra indications. For example, while explaining the certain ahara dravyas, if you want to prescribe any food for cardiovascular health, so you need to choose those food articles where it has been mentioned as rudya. So blindly, any food which is considered as rudya, you can advise, because rudya itself has the effect on maintaining the cardiac health. Suppose if you want to advise any aharas for reproductive health, so you need to choose those aharas which have the qualities like shukrakara, so are pumsattvakara. So if any food property have these qualities, then just blindly select, make a list and advise. So in such a way, Ayurveda, while explaining the indications, they had given various indication of various food articles. So on that basis also you can choose the food and you can advise. So in such a way, if you advise, then obviously you are going to get the result. Just one research article what I got, just I would like to discuss with you people. So here they says that what is the importance of timely food intake, because Ayurveda says that akala and atita kala bhojana is literally not acceptable, which will come under the context of Vishmasana. So here recently, day before yesterday, I was there in conference of cardiology in Ayurveda. So I just presented this article there. So I'm just sharing with you people there. This article says that if you have the habit of taking the food timely, so that will help to maintain your cardio-metabolic health. And even they says that if the person who is having the habit of intake of breakfast, he will be more healthier compared to that of the person who is having the habit of skipping the breakfast. Breakfast is mandatory to everyone. And preferably they says that the people who have the habit of taking the breakfast, he will be having the good body weight management, and even he will be having the better glucose control in the blood. And even they says that the person who have the habit of breakfast intake, even there is a increase in the immunity. So these are some of the research work which they says that timely intake of food is very much essential, especially pratah and sayam. And even they says that if the person is having the habit of 3 times a day, if he all of a sudden skip one meal, so that will helps to improve the immunity of the person. So these are some outcome of these research article. You can just go through this research article, you'll get lots of information. So in such a way, there are numerous research article which says that kalavat bhojana, matravat bhojana has its own effect along with that, and different processing of the food. And this is one of the documentary which is published by the Ministry of Ayush in Ayushman Bharat campaign, that is traditional food recipes. Here, even when you go through these recipes, just I try to highlight here. So they mentioned the numerous health benefits. So in health benefits, if you find anything like here, you see in this Indian gooseberry drink, you are able to see the indications like peptic ulcer. If the person suffering with the conditions like amla pitta, even you can advise directly without assessing what are the qualities. So in such a way, indications, even they mentioned it is indicated in high blood pressure. So the kalam, again, it's nothing but kadi, what we say, it is indicated in regulating the blood pressure. Along with that, there are other numerous indications. So on that basis, whenever you get any classical indication directly like Ridya, Medya, Balya, Brahmana, so there we are not supposed to assess. If it is mentioned, if it is Shastra Dharita, then you need to advise. So these are some of the references which directly says that they are indicated for cardiac health. Just I am just sharing with you people. In such a way, you need to identify the indications and you need to advise. So coming to the conclusion, so whenever we are advising, or whenever you are advising any ahara, Ayurveda ahara, so ultimately we need to focus on each and every part of the health. Just by seeing the physical status, it's not sufficient. Even psychological status, in which status he is there, every aspect of the health are supposed to be advised. And again, ahara is not single component which will help to maintain your health. Along with that, vihara, achara, and vichara. So each and every components when we address, then only we will be able to attain the absolute health. And whenever you are advising any kind of principles related to the ahara and viharas, first we need to see whether this is there any shastra, is there is any reference in any shastras, is there is any fundamental references in Ayurveda. If you could not get any references, then next you need to reach to the scientific research data. If you could not get any scientific research data, then ultimately you need to use your logic, that is yukti. On this basis, you need to approach and you need to apply the concept, then only you are going to get the result. So this is my submission. And again, now I request Surendra Chaudhary sir to open the session for queries. Thank you for your patience listening.
Thank you, Dr. Kasinathji, for this wonderful presentation. And may I stop your? So now you can switch over your video, because there was some technical problem. And we are sorry to inform our viewers that there was some network problem during the presentation and the voice was not as clear as should be. But before, there are just 3 questions from the same fellow, Dr. Nirmalaji. She just want to ask about the sprouted, whether one can take sprouted on a daily basis, number 1. Number 2, what is the appropriate time of taking water after half an hour of the meal, just to for the digestion purpose? Another question is Nitya Sevaniya, whether the sak are the Nitya Sevaniya or not. So these are the 3 queries from Dr. Nirmalaji.
First question is that it's regarding the
sprouted.
Sprout. You see, so when we get the concept of sprout, Viruda Dhanya, Vidahi Guru Vishtambi Viruda Dhanyam Dusti Doshakrut. Ayurveda says that Viruda Dhanyas are like Vidahi, Guru, Vishtambi, Dusti Doshakara. So this we know that. But when we get the concept of Viruda Dhanya, there are many references. One references, I think this will help you to just find the other answer for these things. One is that while explaining the Gramya Ahara, Ayurveda, especially Charakacharya, he says that while explaining the Gramya Ahara, he explains that Virudha Dhanyas are not supposed to be consumed by those people who are Stavara. Stavara in the sense, the people who are sedentary in nature. If they are totally sedentary in nature and if he is into any occupation where there is a less physical movement, for them it is totally prohibited. For appropriate digestion and absorption and assimilation of the sprouted grains, the person should have Tikshna Agni, good Agni. So ultimately, the people who are indulging regular in physical activity, Yayavara is nothing but people who are indulging in lots of physical activity. So for them, ultimately, Agni will be Sreshta. When Agni is Sreshta, ultimately Virudha Dhanyas, that is sprouted grains, can be advised. So this is the one concept you need to understand. So Virudha Dhanya, if the person is doing physical activity, nowadays many people are going to the gym and they're performing lots of physical activity, and they are consuming lots of Virudha Dhanyas, especially sprouted grains. So that is a rich source of protein, and even sprouting of the grains will helps to improve the nutritive value of the grains. So ultimately, people who have the good digestion, for them you can advise, because it has been stated, it has been proven scientifically that it is a rich source of nutrients. This is the one answer. And another regarding consuming the water, isn't it? So as I stated earlier that Atyambupanam mannam vipachitam annam nirambupanam saeva dosha tasmat vannivardanachaha muhur pibed burihi. So what exactly they want to say is that if you drink water excessively, it is going to suppress your Agni, and if you not at all take any kind of liquid or water, again it is going to affect your Agni. So if you want to maintain your Agni, muhur vari pibed buri. So in between the meal, at least thus after 10 or 15 bowl of food, you need to drink 2 or sip of water. In such a way, if you drink, that is the appropriate method of intake of water. Because Ayurveda says that if you take water before food, so that is, it will leads to the Mandagni and Karshakruta. It will leads to the Krishata. If you drink water soon after food, again it is going to increase your body weight. So ultimately, if you want to maintain your body weight, then you need to drink the water in between. Muhur vari pibed buri. Again, indications are very important. If the person is Taulya, then advise the consumption of the water before food, because there are numerous research work. I could not show here, but I have lots of research work which has stated that having the 500 ml to 150 ml, 500 ml to 1.5 liters of water before food helps to reduce your hyperlipidemia. It will helps to reduce your body weight drastically. So indications are very much essential for Swastha Vyakti to maintain Samaswastha. So he is supposed to drink water in between. And if the person is Staulya, before food, if the person is Karsha, after food. So in such a way, this indication will go on varying. And coming to the Shaka, so because as I stated, like in Nitya Sevani Ahara, Shile Chali Goduma, Yavashastika Jangala, Sunishanika, Jivanti, Bala Mulaka, Vastuka. So Batuva ho ya Muli ho. Again, these are all nothing but their roots and tubers and Shaka. So Shakas can be consumed regularly according to the Siddhanta. But excessive consumption of Shaka will aggravate the Vata dosha. That is the reason in Tikakara, Charakacharya, while elaborating the Shaka Varga, he says that Agni Paka Mantarena, we are supposed to consume the Shaka after Agni Paka. That is, after cooking only you need to consume. Nowadays, people have the wrong habit of consumption of vegetable juice. That is, without any cooking, they are making in the form of juice and they are consuming. This is not but these are the Shushkahara. Shushkahara effect is nothing but taking the vegetables without any sanskara. So you need to always take the shakas after sanskara, Agnipaka Mantarena. And another is that shakas should be taken regularly according to the Ashtanga Rudayakara. He mentioned the shakas and the mulis, the mula, kandas, he explained, and preferably like it should be done sanskara. It may be toya sanskara, or it may be agni sanskara, or it may be taila gruta sanskara. After sanskara, you can consume.
Thank you. In the same regard, one more question is about the high protein rich diet. Whether Ayurveda recommend it or not, but modern dietitians, they advise like anything. Particularly, the question is about the mass. Whether mass should be used being the high in protein or not, as Charak say it is Nindaniya.
See again, Nindaniya concept is like it's generally they mentioned, but again Masha, if it is so, they would have not mentioned the like Falashruti of Masha. Is it a day Paramavursham? They mentioned it is a Paramavursham, and it has mentioned that it is going to act as the Atmagupta. Atmagupta is nothing but it's acting like a what we call Atmagupta is
Kapikachu.
Kapikachu, isn't it? So it has indications. We need to focus much on indication when to advise. Masha can be advised if the person is Karsha, and if his Agni is moderately okay, then you can advise Masha. There are lots of preparations related to the Masha, so you can advise. And coming to the protein rich, see again, excessive intake of protein itself is going to act as an antigen, which may give rise to the conditions like antigen antibody interactions. If the person is suffering from any autoimmune disorders, like it may be the rheumatoid arthritis or any kind of autoimmune diseases, at that time protein are supposed to be not consumed. But Ayurveda Siddhanta doesn't has any concept of proteins like that. They speak everything on the basis of Panchamahabhuta Siddhanta and Shadrasa Siddhantas. So on that Siddhanta, if you stick on, so if you taking the modern concept pathophysiology and if you are applying the Ayurveda concept, then obviously we can't answer each and every queries. So if you are diagnosed on the basis of Ayurveda, then obviously you can advise. If you think about the protein level, then obviously you can't apply the concept of AHA. So my submission is that, so always stick on to the one principle, Ayurveda or modern. If you think about the modern, then obviously protein are not supposed to be advised in hyperproteinemia and even like conditions like uric acid or even like gouty arthritis. There are many indications, like even autoimmune disorders like lupus erythematosus or even like rheumatoid arthritis. There are many more things. So concepts are different, but applicability depends on which Siddhanta you are seeing. Ayurveda Siddhanta, if you are following, then blindly follow that. Because if the diagnosis is on the basis of Ayurveda, then you need to stick on to the Ayurveda way of food supply, food advice.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Kasinath ji. And I can say it is really a wonderful presentation by citing all the things, whether we are not following the rituals and the Kal Bhojanam and other rituals prescribed by the Ayurvedic acharyas. And you elaborate very effectively about the things which modern dietitians are saying and Ayurveda's views about those things. Thank you very much for enlightening us with your deep knowledge about the Ahar. And hopefully we request you for another webinar on the particular subject of Ahar any day. So thank you very much. इसी के साथ आज इस वेबिनार में जुड़े देश भर के सभी अपने परिषद के सदस्य और अन्य गणमान्य व्यक्तियों का भी आभारी हूं कि वो अपना समय निकालकर इस वेबिनार में जुड़े। वेबिनार के इस भाग को हम अभी YouTube पर ये